So do you believe your business can be a force for good? Maybe you're already giving back to your community or a cause that you care about, or maybe it's something that you've been dreaming about doing. Here's the thing, most small and medium-sized businesses doing good are keeping it a secret. But what if your generosity could also boost your brand, attract loyal customers, and build a team that's proud to stand beside you? I'm Kirrily Graham, and this is Business as a Force for Good, the podcast where we shine a light on business owners just like you who are making an impact and growing their business. Each week, we dive into real stories, real challenges, and the powerful results that come from aligning purpose with profit. Because doing good is good for business. And today we've got Tim Gaspar, and I want to say that, it's from Hatch, but that's no longer now. So
there's a story in that.
There is a story.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we will. So you're actually now part of FMD Financial Services, isn't that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic. So Tim and I, we've known each other for a few years through our networking group, and so it's been a real pleasure to see and I suppose work alongside you, over the past couple of years, and just also having that experience of some of the fundraising that you've done for some of the causes that you've cared about. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And in particular, you were a real standout in how effective you were in doing the fundraising. And so I really want to sort of have a bit of a deep dive into that, because I think you did such a great job, and I think that's some really valuable insights that you can share with us today. But to get us started, I'd love to learn and for you to share a little bit more about, your business and your background and that journey that you've been on recently with selling your business. So, give us a little bit of background about how you got here.
Sure. So I'm a mortgage broker, and I have been doing that for about 25 years now. And for most of that time, I have had my own business. It was Hatch Financial Services, based out in East Melbourne. Did that for a bit over 20 years. And then I was approached by a financial planning group, FMD Financial Services. They were keen to add that to the lending side to what they did. And I said, I do. And we merged our businesses effective from June just past.
Yeah, fantastic. And this was kind of on your plan, wasn't it? It was sort of in your horizon around, you're looking to your future and how you might sell your business when you were ready to retire. And, so tell us about that journey. Yeah,
look, I was aware that at some point I'd want to retire. And the question was when and how do I maximise the value of my business along the way. And this probably happened a few years earlier than I anticipated. But once you put the idea out there, sometimes the universe presents opportunities for you. And FMD were too good to ignore. The people there are wonderful. They've been warm and engaging. We have really similar values. And I felt that it would be a great place to set up and look after my clients from, and for my staff to have some career progression.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I know would be really important to you, looking after your clients. And we're going to talk about that in a bit more depth soon. Tell us, what outside of work, what are the things that you're really passionate about?
I'm married with two boys, 10 and 12, and look, they take up most of my hours outside of work. They love outdoor adventure, hiking, travelling, and they also love reading. So that's a lot of what I do.
Yeah,
I think I probably read for an hour a night with the boys, and I've read a whole bunch of books that I never read as a kid, whether it be Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the current one.
Classics there.
It's been great fun.
Yeah, great. Well, so you're not missing out on that. You're reliving all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit, now that you've sold your business, you bought it in, but there's, there was some real strengths, I think, to your business historically, and that probably made it very attractive for FMD bringing it in. Tell us a little bit about that. What did you see as some of the real strengths of your business were that made it, attractive for them to actually want you to join in with their existing business?
Look, we're a really personal business, and we've had a really deep connection with our clients. there are a number of them that have been with us since the start of my time in mortgage broking. And so we've grown with them as they've moved through life in the different stages. And probably part of that comes from the fact that what you get with me is all in, whether it's in the business setting or a work setting. I don't distinguish. You get all of me all the time, and maybe that helped build the connection with my clients, because when we'd talk, we'd compare notes about life.
Yeah.
And they bought into that.
Yeah, fantastic. And you, I believe there was a good way that you kept in communication with those people, because people don't buy houses every day, right? So it's not something that, you have a reason to be in regular contact with them. Yeah. So what are some of those things that you did within your business that actually kept that communication and kept that relationship so strong?
Yeah. Look, Marketing 101 says, if you've got clients, you need to keep in touch. You've got to be constant about it. People start with the idea of a newsletter. And there are a bunch of businesses out there that were selling, off-the-shelf newsletters that you could use. And I looked at that and I thought, no, that's just not me. I like the idea of a newsletter. It needs to happen, but I've got to create my own one. And a big part of that was putting some of me into that newsletter. So there were my thoughts and ideas about property and finance.
Yeah.
But really interesting was that my clients were less interested in that and more engaged with the content that I'd put in there about my life, about thoughts that were occurring to me about the universe. If we were traveling, details about trips we'd done. So all of that sort of personal detail was what our clients were reading. A significantly greater rate of opens for those sorts of pieces than so what's the best interest rate at the moment?
Yeah, so the stats in your communications, that's what's actually really showing up. Yeah, so that really is about you bringing it all in, and that's what they buy into, I guess, at the end of the day, isn't it? Is you as a person, and your personal brand. So I want to move on to another section now around, bringing in, about being a business for good. What role do you see that business actually has, and whether that's in your community, whether it's society in general, it could be a global thing. What do you see there?
Yeah, look, I'm a big believer in the saying, if it is to be, it's up to me. And so on a personal level, I live by that. And then as a business owner, I don't see a difference between the business and the personal. So as a business owner, I can make a difference. And I don't think it's a task that needs or ought to be left to government. They don't have all the money in the world, and they don't necessarily have the best ways of doing things. I think business can do things far more effectively and efficiently than government can.
And innovation and yeah.
And so as a small business owner, I felt like I should do my bit.
Yeah, fantastic. And so tell us a little bit about that. How has that actually played out for you in your business? What roles have you played to sort of give back and make a difference?
Yeah, predominantly through charity and donating. And as a business, we've always chosen to have a charity that we're aligned to, and it's changed a bit over time. But the theme that runs through the charities has typically been about housing and accommodation. We spend all day, every day, helping people to get home loans to buy homes.
Yeah.
Now, it's really lucky that there are a lot of people out there who are financially able to do that. Lucky for them and lucky for me. But there are lots of people out there for whom that dream is never going to be a reality. So I wanted to make a difference in that space too. So along the way, we've been involved with Sacred Heart Mission down in St Kilda and homelessness there.
Yeah.
And then we were involved with St Kilda Mums. And again, people who were going through an important stage in life who didn't necessarily have the basics of what they needed to be able to live.
Yeah.
And then more recently, Lighthouse Foundation, which is youth homelessness. So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the first ways that we started working together was through a networking challenge that we ran for an organisation called Ready Set. And what resonated about Ready Set for you, and when we sort of took on that challenge and we're going to do some fundraising?
Yeah. So let's start with who Ready Set are. They're a charity that was set up to help immigrants get set up for work in Australia, and really practical things like clothing to go for interviews and for jobs, but also the skills to be able to go to an interview and deal with that.
Yeah.
And remembering that many immigrants are coming in with English as a second or third or fourth language. So that must be a really daunting process for them. And that resonates with me because I'm first generation Australian.
Yeah.
Both my parents moved here from overseas back in the late 40s and 50s, and they've been through that immigrant story. And I've heard anecdotes about, the challenges of that. Also, some funny stories along the way too. But so I wanted to contribute to helping the next generation of immigrants get settled and heading in the right direction in Australia.
Yeah, great. That's it. And I understand why that's important. It's something that's personally relatable for you. And this, I think, sort of leads on well to, how and why you were successful with the fundraising, with both this one and you chose the Lighthouse Foundation to fundraise for your 50th, was it? Yeah?
Yes, I know. I only look 35, but yeah, it's true. We raised money for my 50th,
Yeah. So you did that in lieu of presents and things like that.
Exactly right.
Yeah, fantastic. So just if you can tell us a little bit about that, understand the motivation for raising for both of those causes, but you actually did you set yourself a goal for the Lighthouse Foundation and for your 50th?
Yes, I'm very goal focused. So we would have set a goal.
Yeah.
And I probably thought if I get there, I'll be pretty happy. But in both cases, we kind of cruised past that goal pretty early on in the process. So we kind of had to set it again and set it again. And
stretch goals.
Maybe I'm just not ambitious enough.
Maybe. So tell us, what was your goal for the Lighthouse Foundation?
I think initially $5,000 and then went up to 10. And I don't recall the exact figure, but I know it was beyond that. Yeah,
you went way beyond that, which is awesome. Yeah. So, and similar for the Ready Set and the networking challenge, we had much lower targets for the teams that were participating in there, but you went above and beyond in that one as well. So tell us a little bit about, how you did that. What were the things, like the key success factors for you to actually, exceed the target by a substantial amount?
I think I tried to be systematic about the approach. So I looked at what were the networks that I had, the people that I knew, and there were my clients, there were suppliers in the finance industry, there were friends and family, and then there were a whole collection of people who are acquaintances on social media, Facebook or LinkedIn, and so I just set about communicating to each of those audiences and being repetitive about it, so that there was increased chance that they were going to see the communications and that they were aware of what I was doing and would have a chance to contribite.
Yeah.
And then with my clients, I could also talk about it in the newsletters that were going out through the process. So I'd talk about training in the case of the walk. I could talk about why the charity resonated for me, and that gave people the chance to understand the connection, to feel it for themselves, and lots of people have that immigrant story in their family, whether it be first or second or third generation, and so that story kind of sells itself if it's shared widely enough.
Yeah. And I think that's an important part, isn't it? There's one is actually making the ask and actually asking for it, but also that it's something that's relatable for people and people understand why that's important to you. Yeah.
Story is really important. It's what creates that connection. I've just been watching a masterclass with Michael Lewis, who wrote The Big Short, and he's written Moneyball and a bunch of other books. And he talks a lot about the story is, you've got to have the story, the connection to bring people in and engage them.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And so tell us a little bit more about the mechanics of the, like you said, you were being quite strategic about it, but just tell us some of those things in a little bit more detail around what you did and how often you did it. Like, what were the things that you put in place?
So newsletters typically were going out monthly. So we had a chance every month to tell a little bit more of the story, to put a link into our fundraising pages and communicate that way. And with social media, it probably was every fortnight, maybe every week, a lot more often just before the event.
Yeah, especially as you're ramping up training and
that's like right. So, when you're out training for a walk, you're walking. So you're seeing lots of pretty things, hopefully. I was walking along one of the Yarra trails up through the northern suburbs of Melbourne, which is not where I live, but, I'd heard that it was pretty, and so therefore it would be a nice place to train.
Yeah.
And so there were picture opportunities, and that then became a really innocuous post, but it was a chance to talk about the fundraising and what I was walking towards.
Yeah. And I think also too, it's not, like you say, you're doing this event, but there's a lot that goes in the preparation that goes into those events, like when you're going to do that. So I think even conveying, I was like, wow, okay, he's out doing another 10Ks today or another 15Ks today. People are going, go you.
Yeah. And it's cold and wet, and I'm out here walking.
Yeah.
And yay me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone else is going, better you than me.
Yeah, that's right. You're at home having your second coffee.
But I guess I can contribute some money towards that goal.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's a really important thing when people see that, and that there is a lot more involved with rather than just turning up on the day. Yeah, they're a lot happier. Yeah. That's definitely something that we've seen as within the sector, is people don't just want to hand over like cash for nothing. Yeah. They want to see something for it or be participating in a way.
And I had a few people who said to me, we're going to contribute, Tim, but we want to see you do the walk first. Once you've done it, we'll put in.
Right. So
we're not rewarding you walking 5Ks. 10Ks is nice, but it's really nothing special.
Yeah.
We want the 35K.
Yeah. Yeah. So they had to, it wasn't sponsoring you for your training walk.
That's right.
Yeah, it was actually seeing it done. Yeah, that's fantastic. And were there any other things that you did to sort of keep that communication up?
I think more about continuing the communication. So the end point wasn't doing the event, completing the walk, but it was circling back around to everyone and saying, hey, I've done it. And this is how much we've raised. And here are a few pics from the day, and giving people one last chance to put in. And interestingly enough, and I would not have expected this, but I think we probably raised 10% of all the money that we raised post the walk.
Right.
Because there were a bunch of people who'd been thinking about contributing who hadn't yet got around to it, who suddenly went, oh, I better do it now because the event's almost over.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. And from all of that you've done, and I certainly saw and observed you doing all of that communication and could see the donations coming in at the other side, which is fantastic. But what would you say have been your biggest lessons, from doing that? You've done it a couple of times successfully now. What do you sort of see are the things that you've really learnt from that?
I think number one is choosing a cause that you've got some passion or connection with, because it builds the story, and the story is really important.
Yeah.
And then it's just doing it. It's easy to wonder, well, I wonder who's going to support me, who's going to give me money. Probably no one. Everyone gets asked all the time.
Yeah.
How many charities can you give to? But the reality is, if they remotely buy into you and your story, they will find some extra money to give. And I know I've just had it this week, FMD support dementia. Australia, I think it is. And there's Run Melbourne coming up. And there's a bunch of people doing the half marathon or the 5K walk.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've given enough money this year already, but no, okay, I can connect to this. And, I've got friends whose parents have dealt with dementia and it's like, okay, we've got to do something about this.
Yeah. And also that supporting your colleagues because you know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to dementia, but it's when you see people actively doing something for that, that's great. Any other lessons that you've learned along the way? I think you mentioned that it was sometimes surprising who actually gave, like you could have preconceptions, right?
Yeah.
Of who you think's going to, this person they'll be good for a donation or
you're right. So you never quite know who's going to give and who's going to give how much. So having the preconception around that is detrimental. You've just got to drop that idea and just go full bore and put it out there and ask people. And if you're politely persistent, then people get that chance to contribute. And if they can't or don't want to, they've also got that chance to not. And it won't be awkward. And as you said, there were people who contributed a lot more than I thought they might, and there were others who didn't. And that's okay, because one of the things I've learned through broking is that what the appearance is on the outside of a person and their situation can bear no resemblance to what's actually going on the inside. So you don't know.
Yeah.
So better not assume, just let people have the freedom to make their own choices.
Yeah, great. That's great. And did you also have people that donated more than once, the same people? Because that's quite often something that we see is that people might donate at the beginning and then when they've seen you achieve it. Did you?
I thought that was only me. I donate at the beginning and then get towards the end and realise I can't remember if I've donated, so I donate again.
No, it's not just you.
There would have been people who donated a couple of times,
Great. And how have you, I suppose, utilised that? I know that you come from a very altruistic place and, that this is a way that you see that you can give back. But did you tell the story of the difference that you were making and the fundraising that you were doing back through your business channels?
Sometimes we would, We'd, but more around sharing what the charity was and what the work they did. But we didn't need to do any more than just share that we were out there looking to raise money for these charities. That gave us, the feel good of it. Yeah. And that was enormous. The amount of confidence that I got from setting a goal and achieving it and help, and not for me, but for other people. But the side benefit of it was that it did build our brand and our reputation, and it built our connection with our clients. Yeah. It gave them more confidence that here's an organisation that says what it means and is thinking bigger picture and not just about its own hip pocket.
Yeah, and that's really powerful. It's really powerful. What value do you think that actually placed on your business when it comes to the prospect of selling your business, right? And do you think that sort of had an impact in the appeal of Hatch?
Look, it must have. Yeah, it must have. I can't tell you, I can't quantify it.
Yeah, it's a hard one too.
But there's no doubt that FMD were interested in our business based on the person that they were seeing in front of them. And as I said at the outset, that's all of me and all my facets. Right? I bring it all to everything. And that can be a good and a bad thing at times. Yeah. But they could see the positive side of it and they liked it. And I'm sure they were talking to others, but ultimately they were happy with me and this played a part in it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Is there anything else that it's had an impact on outside of your business, like personally or any other ways that you can see it's impacted?
Look, it keeps my eyes open to the world. It's easy to live life and be very narrow focus on what's in your life and what's in front of you, and to forget about the bigger global picture, and even if it's just the Melbourne picture.
Yeah.
So that's been really good for me and grounding for me. But also, I love the fact that it's part of the story of me that the kids are seeing.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, they're young kids and they're seeing mum and dad live their lives, and they're being influenced by what they see us do or not do. And, more so right now, because they're now at an age where they remember things. But they remember me doing the walk.
Yeah.
And they understand why I did it. And at some level that will seep in and become part of them forming their attitudes and beliefs as they grow up.
Yeah, which is a really great role modelling,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Great. So before we wrap up, I'd love to hear, we'd like to leave people with, what's the sort of one real gold nugget that you would like to share from your experience of, doing this fundraising over the years?
Just do it. Yeah. Really find a cause that you've got a connection to and go out there and do it. And if you can take people with you for their journey, even better. If you can, I secretly want to, not so secretly if I'm talking about it here, but I'd love to, for my 60th, get a group of guys, maybe with partners, and go and take on some sort of adventure, and with fundraising a big part of it. So that's, in my mind, I now have to sell that idea to my mates.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, I think a couple of them are coming around to the idea of an adventure. So now I just need to tack on the social benefit side to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which they'll be fine with.
Yeah, fantastic. And I've done a number of those types of trips myself, and it does really, elevates the whole experience. Yeah. So that's really great. Well, that's wonderful. It's been great to have you in with us and sharing. Thanks for your tips and your insights from, what you've done in the past, and thank you for the difference that you've made to those organisations as well. It's, it is a lot of effort sometimes to, really commit to something, particularly doing like a big physical challenge at the same time. So, that doesn't go unappreciated.
Well, thank you for having me. As for the fundraising, giving side of it, that's nothing. That's just part of who I am.
Yeah, I know that.
But great to chat.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tim. So we hope that you've been inspired by what you've heard today, or at least curious about how you can make your business a force for good. You can reach out for a no obligation discovery call with us at Dovetail. And if you have any questions about something we've discussed today, or you've got an idea that you'd love us to cover, we can visit that in one of our future episodes. Also, if you liked today's episode, we'd love it if you could jump on and follow the podcast or give us a review. And of course, share it with another business owner who might be inspired to make their business a force for good.